Bom dia, meu nome é José Júlio Abreu, toda a gente me conhece por passar a bola. Epá, e é um gosto enorme estar com vocês aqui no Estoril. Vou-vos apresentar o Race Control. Podem vir comigo, se faz favor? Obrigado. Estas placas são só track limits. E temos tudo o que se passa em pista. A direção de prova está aqui, os responsáveis dos comissários estão ali, comissários executivos, portanto, e é aqui o centro nevrálgico de toda a prova, de tudo o que se está a passar. Bem, o que eu faço? Eu vai ser uma partida dada com safety car, e eu vou estar à frente da grelha, enquanto a direção de prova entender que eu devo estar à frente da grelha. Safety car, depois, na curva 9, apago as luzes e venho para ali, para a ilha, e a corrida segue. A direção de prova é que toma essa decisão de saber quando é que eu entro ou não. Depende das condições de segurança e depende das condições do tempo.
Well, when we saw the forecast for this week, I was fairly convinced, to be honest, that Sunday would be a washout. I thought I'd be on the plane home now. However, we got the racing in. The forecasts were not quite accurate. The weather was slightly better than predicted, but of course, we still had a lot of rain.
After extensive free practice sessions here in Estoril, all teams lined up on Saturday to prove themselves in race 1. The call from race engineer Daniel Webber was clear. Despite the slightly damp asphalt, it was time to go on slicks.
We're underway, we're racing, and it is, predictably, Felix Hirsinger, who pulls ahead on the run down to the first corner. He'll have the inside line, he'll have the advantage under braking into turn 1, but Zanon with the downforce advantage will look to make up time in the following corners. Dexter Müller in a spin. Petar Matic was...
So this is after you had your spin. Am I allowed to say that? Are you showing the spin? Okay.
Because you said on the live stream as well.
Yes.
That I overloaded the rear.
Is that correct, or was I wrong?
That was absolutely correct.
So catching up Premislav here. This is working way back through the field after the spin at turn 1, inside line, and a fairly easy move. Premislav made that quite easy, didn't he? Just kind of opened up the door for Dexter, and I think some of the cut cars maybe will make this a bit more difficult as we keep going.
Another competitor who I know from another series has run a little bit wide, so I took advantage, just marginally hit the brake, trying to pull the car a little bit further in. And when he ran wide, I got back on the power and overtook him.
Already under braking into turn 1 on this clip. Oh, spin up ahead. Who was that? I think that was Jonas Karklees, and they're all spreading all over the place. 2 places for 1, 3 places for 1, actually. Brilliant stuff. Okay. And I mean, that's, I guess, kind of the circumstances there for Dexter of arriving fractionally later than the 2 cars ahead of him. He could see where the car had stopped already. The other 2 were scattering around a car that was still going backwards. By the time Dexter got there, it had stopped. He knew that he could scythe up the inside, and hey, 3 places in 1 shot, that will do nicely.
And so, as we're zooming into that, I am into corner 4. Yeah, trying to dispatch of yet another competitor. He's, I think, struggling with the grip a little bit, struggling with the line because now it's dry. Also, probably the first time he's seen it dry this whole weekend. I got the inside line on him, and I think now, at the end of lap 4, I'm back to where I should be.
Race 1 is over. Crazy, intense, and full of action, Dex pulled off the impossible, fighting his way up to P4 in class and P5 overall. A strong performance, but not everyone seemed to see it that way.
With my manager, I'll always find a way to pick apart my otherwise good race. I think he had some issues and some things he had to say to me. Primarily about my tire warm procedure. He didn't want to believe me that my best option was to work the brakes and let the tires heat up that way, because everybody else on the track was weaving. I think he said I wasn't Raikkonen and I didn't have that ability to do it that way.
Sunday brings a fresh chapter. Race 2 is done, marked by a solid and consistent run from car 54. But now the focus shifts to the big one, The third and final race of the Estoril weekend, an endurance battle, with Dexter Müller taking on the challenge solo.
I think the differences in the race depends on the setup with the drivers, or in Dexter's case, driver. For Dexter, as a solo driver, the first half of his race, he'll be going up against completely different competitors than he does in the second half. And that obviously means that the state of play, the field of play, changes significantly once we get past the pit window.
For the final time this weekend, we're racing in the GT Winter Series, and Hirsiger has been massively jeopardised there off the line.
So heading down towards the Parabolica interior again, one of our Cup 1 cars. This is Felix Hirsiger, Trofeo Pirelli champion in Ferrari Challenge Europe, and this is the move around the outside. I've been wanting to see this one. Dexter fighting here for 7th overall. The outside line, favourable in wet conditions, a bit more grip, a bit more confidence in the traction, and then still side by side here, turning into turn 8. But Dexter convicted there to the outside line, and he's ahead by the Gancho chicane, which is really good stuff. Hirsiger found out he was driving that car on Friday, but still, he is regarded as currently the best Ferrari Challenge driver in Europe, and we know that 296 Challenge car is a bit of a missile. So seeing Dexter get past there, pretty good stuff.
I think coming up on yet another Ferrari Challenge car. Not the ideal place where I want to be on track here, because I knew after following him for several laps what line he was going to take, so I'd been watching him for a while. I thought I can get the inside line, which is obviously much more slippery, quite a bit of opposite lock and very gentle on the throttle. Didn't crash into him, which is quite nice for both of us, because we kept racing. And then finally I got past him on the next corner.
Oh, cutting across the racing line there goes the Ferrari, and again another kick out on the power. Drying maybe a little bit at this stage, but it still looks incredibly treacherous into the chicane. Oh, another armful of opposite lock. Another armful of opposite lock. Drift King Dexter Müller was not on my bingo card for 2026, I'll be honest with you. Just a monumental slide coming out of the corner. The cambers there at the Gancho chicane on the exit are kind of crazy. It's one of those things you don't tell on TV. I only really realised it when I walked the track for the first time 4 years ago. It's kind of got a weird lumpen edge to it, where if you're just approaching it wrong, it is going to kick out on you, and in wet conditions, obviously that's only ever going to be amplified, isn't it?
Estoril delivered everything. Unstable weather turned the weekend into a constant question mark. Changing conditions, no room to relax, and a real challenge for every driver on track. A valuable learning experience for the team from Horgen, Switzerland.
My impression of the season so far for us, and indeed Dexter's portion of the season, has been that the GT Win Series is kind of going from strength to strength right now. More GT3 cars is evidence of that. Some of the high-level drivers that we've got is also a testament to that. Gidlick's philosophy as a whole, I think, is always to make sure that, yes, the pros can compete, they can try and win the titles themselves, but also we never want to exclude the AMs, the gentlemen's, the bronzes, whatever you want to call them. It's a key part. Would GT racing exist without bronze drivers? No. Should we actively try and shut them out? Never. It makes the wheels turn. It's the reason we're all here. So having guys like Dexter, having all of these bronze drivers here, able to compete for overall podiums, maybe even overall victories, that's a key ingredient, I think, for the Winter Series, the Summer Series, anything Gidlick Racing does.
I'm very happy to be back in the car, to have a lot of track time, a lot of driving time. Kind of sad that I don't have the pro driver with me. It would be great fun, but I have to say the amount of experience I've gained in the last 2 weeks has been quite large. And above all, I've got a lot of wet driving experience now. I'm quite comfortable with the car. I hope that translates to a very successful season going forward.